Hi, welcome. We are starting a new segment called In the Know with Miss O. There's been some interest in cooking and techniques and different things like that. So the film class has come to me and we're going to do some recipes and other things like that and see where it takes us. So today, in time for the holidays, we're going to be working on pumpkin spice cupcakes. This is a recipe that I just pulled right off of All Recipes. We'll put the link in the video so you guys can make it if you choose. And this is a great recipe for the holidays because one, it uses our favorite dessert item, pumpkin, right? Are you a pumpkin spice latte fan?
Yeah.
Good job. We're going to use pumpkin. We're going to use all the lovely spices of the season, nutmeg, allspice, clove, you name it. Are you going to help me cook?
Yeah.
All right. So, Zach here is going to cream together the butter and the sugar. Have you washed your hands?
Yes.
You promise?
Yes.
Okay. Put your sleeves up. And this butter here has already been softened. It's really important when it says softened butter that you actually have softened butter. If it is too cold, it won't blend in with the sugar. And
so how fine do you usually want this to be?
So you want it to get where it looks pretty creamy, but it's still going to be a little clumpy because we don't have the emulsifier in it yet, which is the egg,
yeah. Right?
So water and oil don't mix, but if you add an egg in and you mix it up for like a dressing, they'll stay together because you've got the emulsifier. So brown sugar is just white sugar with molasses in it for the coloring. But brown sugar is kind of like kinetic sand, right? So we can't measure it the same way we measure other dry ingredients. What you want to do is scoop in and use the palm of your heel to pack it in. So kind of like going to the beach if you're making a sand castle. You'll know you'll have the correct amount if when you flunk it out, it stays in a solid shape like that. So there's our 1/3 cup of brown sugar. And we need eggs. So let's mix the brown sugar in with the white and the butter just a little bit here. Okay, crack that egg in there. And then let's blend for another 30 seconds or so. And I'm going to go ahead and crack the second egg in here. All right, that looks awesome. So this is the kind of creamy texture we're looking for here with the sugars and the butter and the eggs. And then you want to take your rubber spatula and scrape your sides down. Now step one on here, and like I said, we kind of jumped around. We are going to sift some ingredients together. So it says, sift together the flour, teaspoon of cinnamon, nutmeg, ginger, clove, allspice, salt, baking powder, baking soda. So what I'm going to do for you, Zach, is you can hold the sifter over our bowl here, and I have pre-measured everything. So we're just going to dump it all together, and you just start cranking that handle, and we'll get it all sifted. So there's our flour. This is allspice. It's a lovely smell and flavor. Nutmeg, which is very common in pumpkin pie and other holiday flavors. Cloves. This is special cinnamon. Some of you may know the store Penzies. It's here in town. This is Vietnamese cinnamon. Smell that, Zach. Get a good whiff of that.
That smells good.
It's delicious. I don't know what they do in Vietnam, but their cinnamon is amazing. And Penzies has the best stuff in town. I love supporting this store because they love teachers and they give me all kinds of great deals. All right, we've got ginger, another strong flavor there, so you don't need very much. And then we've got baking powder and baking soda. Do you know what these two things are called or what they do?
Not exactly, to be honest.
These are our leavening agents, so they make things rise. So if we want to get some lift to our cupcakes, we got to put in a leavening agent. And then last but not least, salt. All right, so we sift one to add air and also to get rid of any clumps. And you can see here, it did its job. We don't want those hard chunks in our nicely sifted flour mixture. Okay, now we're gonna add the pumpkin. And how much pumpkin, Zach, does it say we need?
Mm, 1 cup of pumpkin.
1 cup of pumpkin. We're gonna take our dry measure cup, and yes, it does matter. People give me grief about this all the time, but it matters, Zach, I'm telling you. All right, we're gonna take a cup, nice even cup there of pumpkin, and let's get that blue bowl back over here. And we're gonna mix that in, and you can use your rubber spatula to scrape out the sides and get everything in the bowl. And then let's burst this with a little, let's see if they want the mixer or if they want us to hand mix. All right. Stir in the milk and pumpkin puree. So really pay attention to these types of things, okay? If it says stir, we're using a spoon or something similar. If it says beat, those are beaters, and this is a hand mixer. So whenever you see beat, that's your cue to get out your electric hand mixer and make your life easier, okay? So you stir here, and I'm gonna grab the milk. Stir. So it says stir in pumpkin puree, add the milk. And for this recipe, it's calling, that's what I thought, for 3/4 cup of milk. So when you're measuring liquids, be sure that you leave your glass on the table and you get down eye level so that you can make sure you're doing it accurately. One of the things I see in class all the time are kids coming up and measuring like this. Yeah, you're not going to get your correct measure if you're moving your liquid around. All right, so the milk's going in, stir some more. And the last step here says to stir in the flour mixture until just incorporated. So what does just incorporated mean to you, Zach?
So it looks like just about right, you know.
Right, we're not over mixing. And one of the things with cupcakes and muffins, if you over mix, you're gonna get what are called peaks, right? So instead of a nice rounded top, it's gonna look more like a mountain top. Or you could get what are called tunnels, and but basically those are air holes within the cupcake or muffin, and they're big voids. And we don't want that because we want an actual properly cooked one, right? All right, so let's start to get a little bit of this dry ingredient mixed in. Good stirring, sir. Keep on stirring. And just incorporated to me basically means you can't see the flour anymore, right?
Yeah,
so there's no
like
more white. Yeah, exactly. Not stirred to oblivion, but enough that there's no more remaining flour that we can see here. All right, I'll add some more. I will get these liners here. Now this recipe actually makes 24 cupcakes. So if you have a large group coming over for Thanksgiving, this might be a nice little treat. This also comes with a cream cheese frosting for on top that we will do a little later. All right, and let's dump the last flour in there. Good job.
You guys want to make sure you kind of take a long time to do this, like make sure it's like good, but not, you don't want to take too long, you know?
Correct. And one thing I will say while he's mixing here, so we had all of this pre-measured to save a little bit of time, but one thing I do want to re-emphasize is level measuring. So if you needed sugar, flour, something like that, you're going to scoop into whatever your canister is, your container, and you want to take either, this is called a metal spatula, or the back of your butter knife, and you want to scrape the top off so you have a nice level measure. If it's above, that's heaping, and that's more than we want. And if it's below, that's scant, and that's not enough. And a 1/4 cup, roughly, is about the right amount for 2/3 full here. And you can use that metal spatula. This is goopy dough, or batter, I should say. Look at me not using the right word. All right. There we go. And once they fill up, they kind of slide into their little compartments a little bit better.
More like slime.
So, we'll put it in for, I'd say 22 minutes. We don't want to go the full time because we want to check, right? Okay, so you're going to take a toothpick and you're going to slide it in right in the center. And if it comes out clean, nothing, no batter on it, then they're cooked all the way through and we know they're done. Okay? All right, so let's put these in the oven. And now we are going to put them in the oven. Go ahead, Zach. And when you're working, live long and prosper, at the oven, even when you're just setting something in, be super careful because the hand that's holding the tray can get burnt. Zach put it in a goofy way.
Oh, yeah.
No offense. But yes, we want to turn it a half quarter. Turn there so that it's the shape of the oven so it can get a nice even bake. Close it on up and set our timer for 22 minutes. So our cupcakes are in the oven. And while they're baking, we're going to take this time to make a delicious cream cheese frosting. So we've got 8 ounces of cream cheese in here. We've got a 1/4 cup or half a stick of butter. Zach, I'm going to turn it over to you, and I want you to do a little more blending for me. So this recipe calls for 3 cups. We're going to go with half that, and then you and I will take a little taste to make sure it's sweet, but I think we'll be just fine here. So, like I was talking about with dry ingredients, you want to scoop in above the amount and then take your metal spatula and scrape the top so that you get a nice level measure. And we'll dump in a cup of confectioner's sugar. Confectioner's sugar and powdered sugar are basically the same thing. They're just regular sugar that's been ground down really fine. All right, go ahead, blend that up. And I will measure another half cup here for Zach. And now it says to add the vanilla extract and a teaspoon of ground cinnamon and beat until fluffy. I can measure a teaspoon and know that I'm not going to overfill it and make it work. But if you're not, do this over the sink and then bring it to your bowl. And let's get a teaspoon of this amazing Vietnamese cinnamon. Boom. If you have a skinnier cup, it's easier. But what you want to do is drop your bag in the bowl and kind of fold the sides over. And we're going to take the frosting and we're going to scoop some of it into our Ziploc. And then we're going to squeeze the frosting down to one corner of the bag. When our cupcakes are out and we're ready, we're going to cut the corner. Yep, exactly. And then you can just kind of do like a snail swirl. Start in the center, move your way around. All right, can't wait for them to come out of the oven. So our timer's gone off. I set it for 23 minutes. I never like to go to full time because I'm worried about burning things. So we're going to do our toothpick trick. Oh, Zach, look at what we made.
That looks good.
So you're going to take a toothpick. You're going to put it in the center. Comes out. Do you see any batter?
No.
I think we're good to go. So carefully with an oven mitt, grab these beautiful cupcakes. Set them either on your stove top or on a mitt. So our cupcakes are out of the oven. We're ready to frost. Zach did a wonderful job mixing. We don't have any peaks. Hopefully we won't have any tunnels on the inside. We'll see here in a second. So you're going to take some scissors and cut your corner off. And with this, because you're not doing a lot of detailed work, it's okay. So start in the center here and just sort of, spiral out and get a nice amount of frosting on there. You can go ahead and do yours.
That looks so good.
Cheers.